Hello and welcome to John's Comics with Kids and my weekly edited pull list video looking at the comic books I'm getting on New Comic Book Day, the ones my LCS puts into my pull list. If you want to know what I'm getting for March 10th, stick around and watch this video. Oh my gosh, it's like a man jumping into cold water. My pull list is shrinking. I'm really trying to cut back, and I succeeded this week because I'm getting dangerously close to maybe seven books this week. If I can stick to seven, I will be really impressed. It is a bigger Marvel week. DC still in the doghouse for me, and indies are surprisingly light as well. So let's dive right into Marvel and just see what I'm grabbing over there. Number one has to be Daredevil issue 28. I mean, is it the best book at Marvel right now? I think, a couple years ago, maybe it was Immortal Hulk. A couple years before that, maybe it was something that Donny Cates was doing like Thanos. But man, it has been Daredevil of the last year and a half, maybe. It's just such a great read. I think even this King in Black tie-in has been one of the best tie-ins. So it's just been great. You've got Daredevil busting out of prison with symbiote issues. You've got Elektra taking on the mantle of Daredevil, trying to keep the city safe from Null's horde of monsters. Well, it's just all really, really great. I'm in on this. So yeah, 28, done. X Factor issue 8. I'm still reading some of these Hickman books, of course. X Factor has easily the worst covers. They are just awful. The X Factor covers suck. And I wish they put half the effort into it because the story has actually been very, very interesting, diving into resurrection and what does it mean and what are some of the challenges and hurdles that people have to go through to be resurrected. I think it's a very interesting topic. The covers don't do it justice, so I'm sorry. But yes, I'm definitely getting X Factor issue 8. I'm also going to be getting Eternals issue 3, and a bunch of people have complained this is a money grab. But if it is, it's the best money grab going because it's Kieran Gillen writing it. It's Isad Ribic doing the art. I don't necessarily fully understand all these characters because this is my first time reading Eternals. But I like the universe. I love the style. And of course, you got Thanos appearing as a villain from time to time. So yeah, I am all in continuing this storyline by reading issue 3 of Eternals. They have a headshot variant. I don't know who likes these. They're ugly. And there's a bunch of them every week. And I just think that they all look like decapitated characters. It's just a really uncomfortably close talking kind of thing. So pass on all headshot covers. Moving on to, here's a book that I don't think people talk about enough, which is, you had Spider-Man and Venom Double Trouble. Great book. But now we're getting Thor and Loki Double Trouble. Same artistic team. Great for all ages. Comedy that all ages can enjoy. It's like the Pixar of Marvel. These are really fun. And if you haven't read Spider-Man Venom Double Trouble, I recommend grabbing it, especially if you've got kids. They will love it. But now we get a new version with Thor and Loki and the comedy of having a sibling that maybe gets you in more trouble than they're worth. So this is definitely a pickup for me. Green light on the Thor Loki Double Trouble issue 1. And that leaves one last green light Marvel book, and that's going to be Children of the Atom issue number 1. I'm really just trying to stay abreast of everything that they're doing over there at the Hickman X-Men world. The concept of this bringing in some mutant characters that have been sidelined a little bit. The covers, of course, are great. It's Marvel. They're throwing a lot of cool stuff at us. I think the Momoko might be my personal favorite. It's got a kind of like toy vibe to it, like a children's toy thing. So I'm digging the Scotty Young-esque style of it. But yeah, I'm gonna give a shot to anything that comes out of that Hickman universe. Some of it, like Excalibur, gets junk. Other stuff, like Marauders, has been on the pull list from the get-go. So we'll see, can Children of the Atom issue 1 rise to that level? But it's on the pull list for now. And that's it at Marvel. 5 books I'm getting, which is a ton. Let's take a look at DC, because it's not so good over there. I feel like I'm always crapping on DC, and I don't mean to, because I certainly collect a bunch of DC, and I love the characters at DC. I just feel like the editorial and decision-making teams at the back of this company right now are just banging their heads against the wall and they don't know what they're up to. Case in point, they've got Joker issue number 1. The last thing DC needs more of, in my opinion, is more Batman and Joker related stuff. But here we go. We got Joker number 1. And it's Tynion writing it. I'm not a huge Tynion fan, so those of you that are Tynion fanboys can dive in on this. I just don't care. Like, this is the wrong direction. And it sounds like that's all DC wants to do, is more Batman, more Joker, Harley, punchline, blah, blah. So I'm passing on this. There's a cool Neil Adams cover, a nice little switch on the variant. It's a money grab. Like, I don't want anything to do with this book. So this is a red light for me. Even though DC in general has been getting the overall yellow light from me, like the whole company has a yellow light, this gets the red light. Yeah, just not having Joker. Same with this one. We've also got Batman Urban Legends issue number 1. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want anthology books. And this looks like 3 different stories. You got an Outsiders, you got a Red Hood. I don't want an anthology book. I don't want 3 writers and 3 artists. This is the wrong kind of ongoing book from DC, in my opinion. And they want to charge you $8 for it. Like, give me an Outsiders book and give me a Batman book, and I will choose which one I want to buy, and you can charge them both $4. But this current business model for DC is just driving me crazy. Now, the talent is obviously there. This is written by Chip Zdarsky. At least one of the stories. I think he's doing the Red Hood story. I can't remember which story he's doing. But geez, I don't care. I don't care. It's too much Batman, too much Joker, and they're not giving other cool characters any time in the sun. So yeah, this is getting a red light for me as well, but it's a number 1, so I like to show you all the number 1s, and there it is. Sorry. And that's it at DC. It's basically gotten the whole red light this week, but thankfully there's some good indies to pick up the slack. The number 1 indie for me, the first book I'm going to read, the most exciting thing for me this week is Scouts Honor issue 3. This has just been a lot of fun. David Pepose is just a really talented writer, and this is a creative concept. I'm digging all the things about this. So yeah, I'm going to be all about issue number 3 of Scouts Honor. If you missed out on it, I don't think these are skyrocketing in value. This is for good reading material, and I think you'd really enjoy Scouts Honor. The story has to do with a future where a cult has sort of grown around scouts, and the idea that a Boy Scout manual is this sort of mystical tome that people would use to create their sort of religion. A girl has infiltrated the group and is enamored with their themes and their ideas, but has to keep her gender a secret to survive. There's also all kinds of other characters and villains and groups to deal with. So I just like a lot of this concept, and the story they're presenting for this female character is really, really interesting. So yeah, getting this book, and you should too. Next up is Luna, issue number 2. This is the second issue in this this one's about a cult that has to do like in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and this woman who was sort of rescued by this cult leader and the women in his harem, and is staying with them, and then seems to have fallen under their spell. The first issue was very intriguing. There's some ideas I like here, and I really wanted to know a little bit more about it before I made my decision if this was going to make the pull list on the long term. The same artist who did Faithless is doing this storyline. If you want to watch the review of Luna that White Whale Comics and I did, you should check through the new Comic Book Day Book Club episodes and find it, because I think we really got into all the nitty gritty. But I was on the fence and saying, I think I want to get one more and then see how I feel about it. So yes, I'm getting issue 2 of Luna. Next, I got a book that I missed out on, but people told me was really, really great. From Aftershock, issue 2 of MANIAC in New York. I heard that this was really good. Has a sort of slasher Jason kind of vibe to it. Obviously, this cover totally does. I'm not a big horror comics guy, which is why I sort of skimmed issue 1 and passed on it. But everybody told me this was a lot of fun, a good read. So I might scrounge around and see if I can snag an issue 1 for cheap and read this one as well. So it's a yellow light book for me, but I just wanted you to know issue 2 was dropping, and if you had really loved it, you're all set up here to check out this one as well. For me, it'll depend if I can find an issue 1. I'm not really pushing for it, but if I can find it, I'll grab both. That leaves me with 2 yellow light issue number 1s to talk about. First up, from Boom Studios, we have Proctor Valley Road, issue number 1. There's a lot of these horror books right now, and this one does have a ghosty, spooky kind of vibe, having to do with a group of teenagers who go on like a terror road trip, a sort of like tour of haunted places on this particularly supposedly haunted road called Proctor Valley Road. And the monsters that they discover in this trip that they go on together. It could just be a lot of fun. A sort of Paper Girls vibe is what I'm kind of getting out of this. So in issue number 1, Boom Studios, I'm kind of in on it. It's Grant Morrison on the writing side. So if you're a Grant Morrison fan, you know this is going to be a wild ride. He's always got some crazy inventive things going on in his books. So Proctor Valley Road, issue number 1, might be something you want to check out. I also wanted to mention KARMEN, issue number 1, and this is from Image. So this book gave me some like Sandman vibes, a little bit of like Death, the character from Sandman. So we have a character who is an angel who makes a connection with a human here on Earth and needs that human's help in a task that she's going to do. This is a 5-issue limited storyline, so not anything where you need to invest a ton on your pull list. The artist and writer's name is Guillermo March. Guillermo March. And he has done work for DC on a lot of like Bat-related titles, Harley Quinn and such. So I don't know much of his style writing and art, but the concept is really interesting. I love the variants that they've got where they're showing this angel character and kind of what she looks like. I'm getting a fun Death vibe, Sandman vibe here. So I'm very curious about this book. It seems perfect for book club, so I have a feeling that YWell Comics and I might dive in on this just to give it a go. Image number 1s can be a lot of fun. So this is KARMEN, issue number 1 from Image Comics, and I'm probably going to be grabbing this one, which would make my list go to 8. But still, keeping it below double digits. Definitely impressed with my pull list strength to try to shrink all the way down as much as I possibly can. Thank you for hanging out and watching the pull list. This is part of Tag Team Thursday. If you want to find the links to the channels of all the other people participating in Tag Team Thursday, just check the description down below. But we went from Rod the Rican over to me, now on to Old Wolf 65. From there, we try to rotate a bunch of friends in, but we've had Comic Chop News of late. Next up, we've had Brandon from ComixKings, and we try to finish with our closer, my man KnowGood Comics. So hang around, click the links in the chat below, and I'll see you in the next stream. Until then, see you at the next pull list.